There's a strange phenomenon happening in Dubai that almost nobody is discussing openly. Walk into any recruitment office, any HR department, any corporate tower along Sheikh Zayed Road, and you'll sense it immediately. The applications aren't coming in the way they used to. The excitement that once surrounded Dubai job offers has evaporated. Professionals are declining positions they would have fought for just 3 years ago. Others are accepting offers, arriving in Dubai, and leaving within 6 months, sometimes even sooner. The talent pipeline that once flowed relentlessly toward this city has not just slowed, it's reversing. Dubai built its entire modern economy on one fundamental promise. Come here, work hard, pay no income tax, save money, and build a better future than you could anywhere else. For decades, that promise held. Professionals from India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Europe, North America, and across the Arab world flocked to Dubai, drawn by tax-free salaries, career opportunities, and the allure of living in a city that felt like the future. It was the place where ambition met opportunity, where a mid-level manager from Mumbai could become a senior executive, where a teacher from the UK could save enough in 5 years to buy property back home, where a software developer from Cairo could triple their salary overnight. That narrative is collapsing, and the speed at which it's happening is stunning. If you spend time in Dubai's business districts today, in the co-working spaces of DIFC, in the glass towers of Business Bay, in the industrial offices of Jebel Ali, you'll hear the same story repeated across industries. Companies can't find talent, not because qualified people don't exist, but because those people are choosing not to come. Job postings sit open for months. Recruitment agencies report 40% to 50% offer decline rates, a figure that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. Exit interviews reveal a pattern. People aren't leaving because they failed. They're leaving because the math no longer works, and the lifestyle no longer delivers what was promised. The problem isn't one thing. It's everything, all at once. Salaries have stagnated while the cost of living has exploded. Work-life balance, which was always a struggle in Dubai, has deteriorated to the point where burnout is the default state for most professionals. Labor laws still favor employers so heavily that workers feel trapped rather than empowered. The social fabric that made Dubai livable, the expat community, the ease of building friendships, the sense of possibility, has frayed under the weight of transience and stress. And perhaps most damaging, the perception of Dubai as a land of opportunity has shifted. It's no longer seen as the place where you get ahead. It's increasingly seen as the place where you get used up. Let's start with what you see on the surface, because even casual observation tells the story clearly. Sit in the lobby of any major hotel hosting a corporate event, a job fair, an industry conference, and you'll notice something striking. The energy has changed. 5 years ago, these events buzzed with anticipation. People networked aggressively, handed out business cards, asked about openings, and positioned themselves for the next opportunity. Today, those same events feel subdued. Conversations are cautious. Professionals already working in Dubai talk more about exit strategies than career advancement. The newcomers, the fresh arrivals full of optimism, are fewer and noticeably younger, often people early in their careers who haven't yet realized what they're walking into. Walk through Dubai Internet City, Dubai Media City, or any of the free zone office complexes, and you'll see another telltale sign. The cafes and food courts that used to be packed with employees during lunch hours are quieter. Not because people are working from home. Dubai's corporate culture aggressively resists remote work, but because fewer companies are fully staffed. Entire floors in office buildings sit half empty. Desks remain unoccupied not because of layoffs, but because positions went unfilled after someone left, and the company couldn't find a replacement willing to accept the terms. Recruitment firms will tell you the problem privately, even if they won't say it publicly. The candidates they're presenting to employers are declining offers at rates they've never seen before. A senior finance professional from London gets an offer for AED 35,000 per month, which sounds substantial until you run the numbers. After rent, school fees for 2 kids, utilities, transportation, and basic living expenses, there's almost nothing left to save. And savings, after all, were supposed to be the whole point of moving to Dubai. When that candidate declines and explains why, the employer's response is almost always the same, but it's tax-free. And the candidate's counter is equally consistent. Tax-free means nothing if I can't afford to live. Even within Dubai, the churn is visible. International schools, which depend heavily on expat children, are seeing unprecedented mid-year withdrawals. Entire families are packing up and leaving. Not at the end of the school year when contracts typically end, but immediately, because the financial and emotional strain became unbearable. Landlords are reporting that tenants are breaking leases early, paying penalties just to escape. Corporate HR departments track resignation rates that have doubled or tripled compared to pre-2023 levels, and the exit interview data is damning. People aren't leaving for better jobs elsewhere. They're leaving because staying isn't sustainable. The hospitality sector, which should be thriving with Dubai's push for tourism, can't keep staff. Hotels that once had waiting lists of applicants now struggle to fill basic positions. Restaurants open and close not because of customer demand issues, but because they can't maintain a stable team. Retail stores and the malls operate with skeleton crews, not by choice, but because they can't hire or retain workers at wages that are viable given the city's cost structure. Dubai's government has noticed. Visa reforms, wage protection systems, and labor law adjustments have been announced repeatedly. But the gap between policy and practice remains enormous. On paper, workers have more protections than ever. In reality, enforcement is inconsistent, and the power dynamic between employer and employee hasn't fundamentally changed. The sponsorship system, even in its revised form, still ties workers to their employers in ways that limit mobility and leverage. If you lose your job or want to leave, you have 30 to 60 days to find a new sponsor or exit the country. That deadline creates desperation, and employers know it. The bigger issue, the one that no policy adjustment can immediately fix, is perception. Dubai's brand as a career destination has been damaged, and reputational damage moves slowly but cuts deep. When professionals in London, New York, Singapore, or Bangalore talk about Dubai now, the conversation has shifted. It's no longer, that's where you go to make money. It's, that's where you go to burn out. The stories circulating on LinkedIn, on expat forums, in WhatsApp groups are overwhelmingly cautionary. People warn their friends. They share their budgets, showing how little they saved despite decent salaries. They talk about the stress, the isolation, the grind of living in a city where work consumes everything and there's no safety net if things go wrong. And the professionals who could change this narrative, the ones who succeeded in Dubai, who built careers and lives here, are often the first to tell newcomers not to come. That's the paradox Dubai now faces. The people who know the city best, who navigated it successfully, are advising others to look elsewhere because they see what's changed. They see that the opportunity to sacrifice ratio has inverted. What you give up to work in Dubai, time, health, relationships, stability, now outweighs what you gain. This is not a temporary slowdown. This is structural, and it's being driven by forces that are all converging at once. Let's talk about the most immediate and obvious factor: money. Or more accurately, the complete disconnect between what people earn and what it costs to live in Dubai. Because no matter how you frame it, no matter how many times employers repeat, but it's tax-free, the basic math has stopped making sense for the vast majority of professionals considering Dubai as a career move.
Salary stagnation is real and widespread. Across almost every industry, companies in Dubai are offering the same or lower compensation packages than they were in 2019, despite the fact that the cost of living has increased by 50% to 70% in the same period. Let's ground this in specifics because abstract claims don't capture the reality workers are facing. A marketing manager with 8 years of experience could command AED $20,000 to $25,000 per month in 2019. That same position today, employers are offering AED 18,000 Chirn to 22,000 Holland. A civil engineer with a decade of experience and professional certifications might have earned AED 28,000 Chirn to 35,000 Nolsen in 2020. Now AED 22,000 Nolsen to 28,000 Haus is standard, sometimes less. A senior accountant working for a mid-sized firm was pulling AED 25,000 ton to 30,000 Fossers a few years ago. Today, AED 20,000 Tausend to 24,000 Tausend is what's on the table. These aren't entry-level roles. These are experienced professionals, and their compensation is moving backward while the city around them becomes exponentially more expensive. Even the sectors that traditionally paid well are tightening. Tech roles, which saw a hiring surge in 2021 and 2022 when Dubai tried to position itself as a regional tech hub, are now seeing offers that barely match or sometimes undercut what developers can earn remotely from other markets. A senior full-stack developer could get AED 35,000 tons to 40,000 tons in 2021. In 2025, offers are landing at AED 25,000 tons to 30,000. Why would someone move to Dubai, uproot their life, and take on all the associated costs for a salary they can earn remotely while living somewhere cheaper? The finance sector, long considered one of Dubai's strengths, is facing the same compression. Junior analysts, financial planners, and auditors are being offered AED 12,000 tons to 15,000 tons, a salary that worked in 2015 when rent for a one-bedroom apartment was AED 50,000 annually. Today, that same apartment costs AED 95,000 to $120,000, and the salary didn't budge. Healthcare professionals, who you'd think would be in high demand and well compensated, are leaving the UAE in droves. Doctors, nurses, and specialists can earn more with better working conditions in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or even back home in countries like India, the Philippines, or the UK. A general practitioner working in a Dubai clinic might make AED 25,000 turns to 30,000 per month, which sounds reasonable until you factor in the 60 to 70-hour work weeks, the lack of malpractice insurance support, and the bureaucratic nightmare of medical licensing renewals that employers often don't assist with. Teachers, another critical expat-heavy profession, are facing a crisis. International schools in Dubai have always attracted educators from the UK, US, Canada, Australia, and South Africa by offering competitive packages that included housing allowances, tuition waivers for their children, and annual flights home. Those packages are disappearing. Schools are cutting allowances, reducing benefits, and expecting teachers to cover more of their own costs. A secondary school teacher who could command AED 18,000 to 22,000 plus housing and school fees for 2 kids in 2018 is now offered AED 16,000 to 19,000, with reduced or no housing support and limited school fee coverage. When you run the numbers, teachers are taking home less than they would in their home countries once you account for Dubai's cost of living, and they're working longer hours in more stressful environments with less job security. What's causing this salary stagnation? Companies point to market competition and economic uncertainty. They claim they can't pay more because their own revenues are under pressure, but that explanation only holds up until you look at profitability. Many of the companies suppressing salaries are still posting healthy profits. The cost cutting isn't about survival, it's about margin protection. And workers are bearing the burden. There's also an oversupply of labor in certain sectors. When you have 10 qualified candidates for every open position, employers can lowball offers knowing someone will eventually accept out of desperation. That's particularly true for mid-tier roles in marketing, administration, customer service, and operations. The talent pool is deep, and companies exploit that. But here's what employers are missing. They're getting the candidates who have no other options, not the ones they actually want. The best talent, the people with choices, are walking away. And the result is a workforce that's increasingly made up of people who are there because they have to be, not because they want to be. That shows up in performance, morale, retention, and ultimately, business outcomes. Then there's the benefits erosion. It used to be standard for Dubai employers to offer comprehensive packages, housing allowance, school fee support for children, annual flights home, health insurance that actually covered things, car allowances or company vehicles, and end-of-service gratuity. Now, those benefits are being stripped away across the board. Housing allowances have either been eliminated or reduced to token amounts that don't come close to covering actual rent. School fees are now the employee's problem, which is devastating for families where one kid's education can cost AED 60,000 to 80,000 per year. Flights home, which used to be annual business class tickets for the whole family, are now economy once a year if you're lucky, and often only for the employee, not dependents. Health insurance has become a minefield. Employers provide the legally required minimum coverage, which sounds fine until you actually need medical care and realize the policy doesn't cover medications, specialist visits, dental, maternity, or mental health services. Workers end up paying out of pocket for anything beyond basic GP visits, which defeats the purpose of having insurance in the first place. The combination of stagnant salaries and disappearing benefits means that the total compensation packages professionals are being offered in Dubai have effectively been cut by 30% to 40% in real terms compared to 5 years ago. And that's before factoring in the cost of living increases that have made rent, food, transportation, and schooling vastly more expensive. So when you ask why nobody wants to work in Dubai anymore, the answer starts right here with the money. People aren't stupid. They can do math. And the math shows that for most professionals, Dubai is no longer the wealth-building opportunity it once was. It's become a place where you work harder, earn less in real terms, and come out the other side with little to nothing saved. That's not a career move, that's a trap, and word has gotten out.